Yo, yo, yo. What's the word, family? Welcome back to the Urban Concrete. You already know what we do. We take the cold, hard facts of the world, grind them down on the pavement, and give you that real deal analysis that the suit and tie news won't touch. We talk in politics, we talk in culture, and we talk in the truth. Today, man, we got to talk about a situation that is absolutely wild and out in Ohio. We're looking at the 2026 governor's race. But AI ain't even about the voting yet. It's about the straight up crash out we seeing from the far right extremist Nick Fuentes toward Vivek Ramaswamy. Now, look, we got to explore this story, analyze the moves, and see what's really behind the curtain. Is it about policy? Is it about America first? Or is it just some old school, dusty prejudice dressed up in new clothes? Grab your water, pull up a chair, and let's get into the concrete facts. Let's set the facts on the table. Vivek Ramaswamy, love him or hate him, is a Republican who ran for president and is now likely the frontrunner for governor of Ohio. But Nick Fuentes, man, Nick is out here losing his mind. He literally said this is the only race he cares about in 2026. And check the goal and trying to help a Republican win. He said the word he's looking for is denial. He wants to deny Vivek that seat at all costs. He even said he'd rather see a very liberal Democratic woman win someone who is pro-choice and supports policies. Nick calls evil just to make sure Vivek doesn't get in. Now, let's analyze the why. Why is Nick willing to burn down his own house just to spite Vivek? He's out here using the term anchor baby to describe Vivek. But here's a fact for the concrete. Vivek Ramaswamy was born in America. He's a US-born citizen, 100%. But Nick is out here obsessed with race and racism against Indian people. He says because Vivek's folks came here from India in the 80s on a visa, he's not a real American. Nick is pushing this idea of a heritage American. He thinks if your ancestors didn't fight in the Civil War or the Revolution, you're like a second-class citizen. He told his audience that Vivek spits on the graves of your ancestors, because Vivek has the audacity to say he's just as American as George Washington. Let's explore the linguistic and cultural roots of this heritage talk. This is what you call nativist identitarianism. It's the belief that citizenship should be determined by your bloodline, not by the law. But check the receipts. The United States Constitution, specifically Article 6, says there is no religious test for holding office, and the First Amendment guarantees religious freedom. Nick is out here crying that Vivek isn't Christian and says there do be no Christmas in the mansion, only Diwali. Fam, he is literally using the flag to wrap himself up while spitting in the eye the foundational principles that flag stands for. He's trying to create a special class of Americans based on who your great dash granddaddy was. Here's the urban concrete argument. This whole heritage flex. It's basically white nationalist day. Facts. Think about it. Nick wants credit, status, and power for things he never did. He wants a cookie because his ancestors helped build the Golden Gate Bridge or fought in a war 200 years ago. But here is the bar for the night. If you want ancestral credit, you got to take that ancestral guilt too. You can't say, I'm special because of what my ancestors built, and then turn around and say, I do owe nobody nothing for the slaves my ancestors owned. You can't have it both ways, homie. Either we are all individuals responsible for our own actions, or we're all responsible for the history. Nick wants the heritage without the reparations, and that logic just don't hold weight on the concrete. Let's analyze the influence on Nick's personality. He's built this rising sensation online by being edgy, but as the reports show, it ain't just edgy humor or jokes anymore. He openly hates Jewish people, women, and minorities. He is so obsessed with race that he's willing to destroy his own America First Movement just to stop a brown man from winning. And let's look at Vivek's side. The irony is that Vivek has spent his whole career fighting against toxic left-wing identitarianism and DA. He's been pushing for meritocratic society where you win based on your skills, not your skin. So you got a guy, Vivek, fighting to stop identity politics, and another guy, Nick, using the most extreme form of identity politics to try and cancel him. To make this clear, Imagine a country club. The written bylaws say that anyone who pays their dues and follows the rules is a full member with equal voting rights. That's the Constitution. But then you got a small group of dudes at the bar, that's Nick, and his crew saying only the people whose great-grandfathers founded the club can be president. They trying to ignore the written bylaws because they scared of who is coming through the door. The legal argument is simple. The bylaws, the Constitution, say Vivek is just as much a member as anyone else. Your family tree don't change your right to lead. So, what's the real argument here? Nick Fuentes is acting like a social justice warrior, but for white grievance. He's out here acting oppressed because a US-born citizen wants to run for office. He claims Vivek is bullying white people, but as the sources say, your victim card is declined. Get over it. Vivek is out here saying all American citizens are equal as citizens. He isn't belittling anyone's ancestors. He's just rejecting the claim that some people are a special class because of their granddaddy. This story is deeply revealing, family. It shows that for some people, America first is just a slogan to hide people who look like me first. Nick is out here campaigning against an America first candidate because of his own prejudice. That ain't conservative, that ain't Republican, and it definitely ain't foundational American principles. It's just bigoted noise. Before we roll out, remember this. A country is built on its laws and its people's actions, not just the 1776 guest list that most of us weren't on anyway. That's the report from the Urban Concrete. Nick is unhinged, the Constitution is clear, and the streets are watching. You let me know what you think in the comments. Is Nick wild in for the clout, or do you think heritage actually means something in 2024? Speak your truth, but keep it factual. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and support the movement. I'm DRE. This is The Concrete, and we are out. Peace.